What if everything you've been chasing is already trying to find you? What if the profound practice of surrendering is not weakness, but the most powerful shift you'll ever make? What if conscious letting go is the only way to finally move forward? The magic of surrender. Why everything comes to you when you give up. This is not your typical motivational video. This is a wake-up call for those who are ready to break through their limits and step into the life they truly deserve. If you're searching for true wealth, lasting success, and deep inner happiness, then don't blink. Don't miss a single second. Because near the end of this video lies timeless wisdom, success, secrets that few have ever heard. That final part might just be the turning point in your life, if you have the patience to absorb it fully. And if you're ready to make a change, hit subscribe so you don't miss this journey of growth. Comment, "I'm ready for success and happiness," to mark the beginning of your transformation. And watch until the very end, because the real value lies in what you haven't heard yet. We're not here to entertain. We're here to help you become the best version of yourself. Start right now. Your success won't wait. There's something profoundly strange about life. The more we chase, the more it runs. The tighter we grip, the more things slip through our fingers. And yet, when we finally let go, when we stop forcing, stop resisting, stop trying so hard, something unexpected happens. Life begins to respond, not with chaos but with clarity, not with absence but with alignment. This episode is about that mystery. It's about the quiet power of the profound practice of surrender, the kind that doesn't mean giving up, but giving in to the rhythm of things, to the intelligence that guides the world. Even when we don't understand it today, I want to explore what happens when we stop trying to tight control everything, what unfolds when we genuinely trust the process, when we loosen our grip and allow life to unfold on its own terms. Because maybe, just maybe, everything we've been trying so hard to achieve is already trying to reach us, if only we'd get out of the way. There's a moment in life we all encounter, sometimes in our work, other times in our relationships or deepest dreams, when no matter how hard we try, nothing moves. We push, we plan, we hustle, and still the doors remain shut, and so we try harder, we tighten our grip, telling ourselves that more tight control equals more results. But what if the very effort we believe is helping us is actually holding us back? What if chasing too much is the very thing pushing everything away? It's a strange truth. The more force we apply, the more life seems to resist us. And the more we resist that reality, the more frustrated we become. But then something curious happens. Maybe when we're tired, when we've run out of options, when we finally the profound practice of surrender, not because we want to, but because we have to, we let go. And in that space, without pressure, without demand, things begin to move. You might think of the profound practice of surrender as weakness, as giving up. But the profound practice of surrender isn't passive. It's active openness. It's not abandoning your dreams. It's releasing your attachment to how and when they must happen. There's a kind of wisdom in that, a genuine trust in the intelligence of life itself, like a river finding its way to the sea, not by force, but by following the natural curves of the earth. Imagine a clenched fist. It's strong, right? But it can't hold much. It can't receive. It's too busy gripping now. Picture that same hand, open, relaxed, ready to hold. Whatever comes, that image captures the essence of the profound practice of surrender. It's not that you don't care. It's that you've stopped micromanaging the universe. You've stopped thinking you have to make everything happen by sheer will. Think of Sarah, an artist who spent years trying to make it. She did everything right. Promotions, networking, constant productivity, but her art felt forced and her life felt heavy. Eventually, she reached a point of burnout. She stopped trying to be successful and returned to creating for the joy of it. No agenda, no strategy, just expression. That's when everything changed. A gallery owner stumbled upon her work, felt its honesty, and offered her a solo show that one moment opened doors she'd been pushing against for years. But the shift didn't come from more effort, it came from less resistance. And maybe that's the lesson. Our desire is not the problem, wanting is human. But when desire turns into tight control, when we start measuring our worth by how fast things happen or how closely reality matches our plan, we lose touch with flow. The profound practice of surrender is the quiet practice of stepping back and genuine trusting that what's meant for us will find its way, not because we chase it harder, but because we align with it. That doesn't mean we stop taking action. It means our actions come from a place of clarity, not desperation. It means we move forward, not because we're afraid of falling behind, but because we're inspired. The difference is subtle, but it changes everything. The profound practice of surrender doesn't mean inactivity. It means intelligent participation. We plant the seed, we water it, we give it sunlight, but we don't keep digging it up to see if it's growing. So, ask yourself, where in your life are you holding too tightly? What dream are you gripping so hard it can't breathe? What part of your path are you forcing instead of flowing? Maybe it's time to ease your grip. Maybe it's time to release the need to know exactly how it will unfold. Because the truth is, we don't always need to know. We just need to listen to act. From alignment to genuine trust, that conscious letting go doesn't take us off the path, it places us directly in it. And if there's one shift you could make today, let it be this move from pressure to calm and grounded presence. Let go, not of the dream, but of the timeline, the formula, the tight control, and watch what begins to move in your life when you do. Sometimes the thing that's stopping us isn't the world around us. It's something quieter, something more personal. It's not the lack of time or resources or even opportunity. It's resistance, that invisible force that shows up right when we're about to do something meaningful. It whispers, doubts it, feeds, fears. It convinces us that staying safe is better than moving forward. And most of the time we don't even notice it. We just feel stuck, unmotivated, or worse, we sabotage ourselves and call it logic. Resistance takes many shapes. It can look like procrastination. It can sound like that inner critic telling you your dream is unrealistic. It can feel like exhaustion when you sit down to work on something that matters to you. It might even masquerade as productivity, cleaning the kitchen, checking emails, doing everything but the one thing that truly calls to your heart. That's the trick of resistance. It hides in our plain sight, pretending to protect us, when really it's keeping us small. But here's the thing. Resistance only shows up where something meaningful is trying to emerge. It's a signal, not of failure, but of potential, like a wall you bump into when you're walking in the dark. It tells you you're at the edge of something real, and instead of backing away, maybe what we need to do is pause and ask, what am I really afraid of? Because resistance is almost always rooted in fear. Fear of rejection, fear of judgment, fear of not being enough. It's the part of you that wants to grow, colliding with the part of you that wants to stay safe. That inner friction is natural. It means you're alive. It means something important is happening. Think of Adam, a writer who dreamed of publishing a novel. He had talent, vision, even time. But every time he sat down to write, anxiety took over his mind, filled with what-ifs. What if it's bad? What if no one reads it? What if I fail? So, instead of writing, he reorganized his bookshelves or reread old drafts. Resistance kept him busy but far from the page. And yet, when he finally acknowledged that, fear not as weakness, but as part of the process. Everything changed. He didn't get rid of resistance. He learned to move with it. That's what the profound practice of surrender looks like in the face of resistance. It's not about overpowering it. It's about recognizing it. And choosing to move anyway. Kindness helps. So does curiosity. Instead of criticizing yourself for being lazy or undisciplined, try asking, what is this resistance trying to protect me from? What belief is hiding underneath this fear? Maybe you believe success will cost you your relationships, or that failure will prove you're not good enough, or that trying your best and still falling short would hurt more than not trying at all. These beliefs are heavy, but they're not permanent. When we shine a light on them, we begin to dissolve them. You can even talk to your resistance. Literally, write a letter from that voice inside you that says, don't do it, let it speak. Then write back, not to argue, but to reassure, to say, I hear you, but I'm not here to stay stuck. Because staying stuck is safe, yes, but it's also suffocating. And deep down, you know you weren't born for safety. You were born to express, to create, to grow. That means dancing with resistance, not letting it run the show. One powerful way to soften resistance is to break things down. Big dreams are intimidating. So shrink the scale. Don't write a book, just write one paragraph. Don't launch a business, just sketch an idea. Don't change your life overnight, just take one honest step. Resistance feeds on overwhelm, but calm and grounded presence. Calm and grounded presence dissolves it. And remember, you're not broken because you feel resistance. You're human. Every person who has done something meaningful has met this invisible weight. The difference is they didn't wait for it to disappear. They moved through it. They breathed with it. Genuine. Trusted that on the other side of fear there's freedom. So today, instead of asking how to get rid of your resistance, ask how to understand it. Ask what truth is trying to surface underneath it, and then with compassion, take one step anyway, because the moment you do, you reclaim your power not through force, but through the profound practice of surrender, through the quiet, courageous act of moving forward, even when your fear begs you not to. There's a kind of silence that follows resistance, not the peaceful kind, but the heavy kind, the kind where we start to question everything. Is this worth it? Am I doing something wrong? Should I keep going? Or is this a sign I should stop? And in that uncertainty, we often reach for tight control. We try to map out every outcome, secure every answer, and force life to give us guarantees. But life doesn't work like that. It never has, and maybe it's not supposed to. The truth is, there's a much bigger rhythm at play than what we can see. Plans are useful, effort is important, but they're not everything. There's a larger intelligence guiding the unfolding of events. Some call it the universe, others call it divine timing, but whatever name you give it, the essence is the same. There is a force moving through your life that knows more than you do, and when you genuinely trust it, things start falling into place in ways you couldn't have predicted. Genuine trust is difficult because it asks us to the profound practice of surrender, tight control, not just intellectually, but emotionally. It means being okay with not knowing how things will turn out. It means taking steps when the path isn't fully visible. That's not easy for the mind, which craves certainty. But maybe the heart doesn't need certainty. Maybe it just needs connection. Think of Maya, someone who'd spent years trying to find her purpose. She read all the books, tried different jobs, made detailed 5-year plans, but nothing felt quite right until one day she stopped searching and started listening not to experts or trends, but to herself. She began noticing what moved her, what lit her up. It wasn't loud, it wasn't dramatic, but it was real. One small decision at a time, she followed that quiet voice. A year later, she found herself doing work she never expected, work that felt meaningful, alive, aligned. Not because she forced her way into it, but because she genuinely trusted the unfolding. That's what genuine trusting the universe looks like. It's not waiting around for signs. It's being open to the unexpected alert, to the subtle nudges, and willing to act even when the outcome isn't guaranteed. It's understanding that just because things aren't going according to your plan doesn't mean they're going wrong. Sometimes not getting what you want is what clears the path for what you need, but to genuine trust that you have to let go of your obsession with timing. You have to stop measuring your progress by someone else's clock. The universe doesn't run on deadlines, it runs on alignment. And when the time is right, when you're ready on a level, you may not even see things move fast. Not because you chased them harder, but because you became who you needed to be for them to arrive. Of course, this isn't about passivity. Genuine trust is not a reason to sit back and hope. It's a reason to stay present, to keep showing up with an open heart. You still take action, you still do your part, but you do it from a place of partnership, not pressure. You act like a dancer who's in sync with the rhythm, not someone dragging the music along. There's freedom in that. There's peace in realizing that life is not against you. It's not trying to test you or punish you. It's trying to shape you. And the things that don't work out, they're often redirections, not rejections. Closed doors that lead you somewhere. Better delays that prepare you for something greater. But you only see that when you stop forcing the narrative and start listening to the deeper story. So ask yourself, where have you been trying to force outcomes in your life? Where have you mistaken struggle for progress? Can you begin to genuine trust, not blindly, but consciously, that what's meant for you is already making its way to you? Because when you do, when you release your grip on the timeline and allow yourself to move in rhythm with something larger, you'll start to notice a shift, not just in what you attract, but in how you feel. More grounded, more open, more at peace. That's the quiet magic of genuine trust. It doesn't make life perfect, it just makes it real. And in a world full of noise and pressure, that's more than enough. We often think that effort alone is the answer. That if we just try harder, do more, push through, eventually life will give in. But what if the real key isn't more force, but more space? What if what we need isn't more striving, but more allowing? There's a subtle but powerful difference between action driven by fear and action born from alignment. When we act from fear, we rush. We tight control. We demand results. We are constantly measuring our worth by outcomes, always looking to the future to validate the present. But when we act from alignment, there's a calm to it, a clarity. We're not chasing something outside ourselves, we're responding to something real within us. Allowing means dropping the need to force things into place. It means recognizing that not everything requires immediate intervention. Some situations need time to unfold. Some problems don't need to be fixed right now. Some answers arrive only when the noise quiets down enough to hear them, but this isn't easy. Most of us have been conditioned to believe that tight control equals success. We've been praised for taking charge, for pushing through, for making things happen. So, the idea of stepping back can feel like laziness or irresponsibility. Yet there is a discipline in allowing it. It takes strength to hold space. It takes wisdom to know when to step in and when to step aside. To allow is to genuine trust in timing, but also in yourself. It's not a passive waiting. It's a mindful, calm, and grounded presence. You're alert, awake, connected. You're not ignoring what's happening. You're simply choosing not to react from panic or pressure. You're choosing to respond from calm and grounded presence. There's a kind of power in that, the kind that doesn't demand attention but commands respect, the kind that doesn't seek validation but radiates quiet confidence. And more often than not, the solutions we're so desperate to find come more easily when we stop chasing and start listening. Think about how nature works. A seed doesn't become a tree. Overnight, it needs space, soil time, sunlight, deep inner stillness. If we try to rush the process, we harm it. But when we allow the conditions to support its growth, it flourishes. The same applies to our goals, our relationships, our inner healing. They don't need more pressure, they need the right space to grow. So maybe the question isn't, what more can I do? Maybe it's, what can I let go of? Can you let go of the need to have all the answers? Right now, can you stop trying to force solutions and allow things to unfold at their own pace? Can you genuinely trust that your energy is better spent cultivating clarity than tight controlling outcomes? Because in that space of allowing, something beautiful happens. You begin to move with life, not against it. You begin to listen to your own rhythm, not just the noise around you. And from that place, things start to align in ways you didn't expect. Not because you pushed harder, but because you got out of your own way. So, take a breath. Soften the urgency. Let yourself be here fully. You don't need to force what's meant to flow. You don't need to chase what's already making its way to you. Allow it genuine. Trust it. Respond with calm and grounded presence, not panic, and you'll find what's truly meant for you doesn't need to be forced. It just needs room to arrive. Expectations can be silent burdens. We carry them everywhere about who we should be, how fast we should progress, what success should look like. They shape our thinking, distort our perceptions, and often leave us feeling disappointed, not because life has failed us, but because it didn't match the script we wrote in our heads. And that script, those expectations, are rarely rooted in reality. They're rooted in fear, in comparison. In tight control, we don't just want things to happen, we want them to happen our way on our schedule, with our conditions, and when they don't, we feel betrayed. But here's the truth. We often overlook expectations, create tension, and tension blocks flow. It's not that wanting things is the problem. Desire is natural, vision is powerful, but the moment our desires harden into rigid expectations, we begin to suffer. We narrow our focus so tightly that we miss everything life is trying to give us. Outside that narrow frame, we stop being open to surprise, to mystery, to the beauty of not knowing. There's a quiet freedom in conscious letting go of expectations, not because you don't care, but because you care enough to let things unfold in their own form. You learn to show up fully, give your best, and release the need for a specific outcome. That's not giving up, it's growing up. Think about how often expectations fuel unnecessary pain. You expected someone to react a certain way, and they didn't. You expected a goal to be reached by a certain time, and it wasn't. You expected to feel different after reaching a milestone, but the feeling never came in all of these moments. The pain didn't come from what happened. It came from what you expected to happen, and that's the hidden cost. Expectations tie your peace to things you don't. Tight control. They make your joy conditional, and when life inevitably takes a different path, left feeling broken, not because you are, but because you built your inner world around a timeline or outcome that never truly belonged to you. So what's the alternative? It's not indifference, it's calm and grounded presence. It's devotion to the process, rather than obsession with the prize. It's the choice to show up every day, to care deeply, to dream boldly, but without the weight of expectation dictating your worth or your happiness. You can still plan, you can still work hard, you can still hold a vision for your life, but hold it lightly, let it breathe, leave room for life to surprise you, because often the best things that happen to us are the ones we never saw coming, and we only recognize them when we're not blinded by what we thought was supposed to happen. So pause and ask yourself, what expectations are you holding that no longer serve you? What stories have you written about how your life should look? By now, And what would happen if you release those stories not to fall behind, but to come back to what's real? Because when you do, you'll feel it, a lightness, a space, a sense of calm in the uncertainty. And in that space, something powerful begins to move. Not outside of you, but within you. A freedom, a clarity, a quiet confidence that no matter what happens, you'll meet it with calm and grounded presence. Not pressure, not panic, but with open hands and an open heart. And that more than any fixed outcome is where peace lives. Silence isn't empty. Deep inner stillness isn't passive. In fact, it's often in those quiet moments when we stop doing, stop chasing, stop tight controlling that the most powerful shifts happen. But we rarely make space for deep inner stillness. We think it's unproductive. We treat it like a pause between the real parts of life. Yet, in truth, deep inner stillness is where we reconnect with ourselves, with clarity, with something deeper than thought. Meditation, in its purest form, isn't about escaping life. It's about meeting it fully. It's a space where we practice the profound practice of surrender, not as a dramatic gesture, but as a quiet return to calm and grounded presence, a return to the breath, the return to what's happening right now without judgment, without resistance. We often carry tension without realizing it in our thoughts, in our bodies, in the way we approach each moment with subtle urgency. Meditation helps us see that it slows us down enough to notice the noise we've gotten used to living in, and by noticing it, we begin to loosen its grip. You don't have to be a monk to benefit from this. You don't need hours of silence or a perfect environment. Just a few minutes of intentional awareness can shift your entire day. Sit quietly, close. Your eyes feel your breath move in and out of your body. Don't try to change it. Just observe when thoughts come, and they will notice them without following. Let them pass like clouds in the sky. This isn't about stopping your thoughts. It's about no longer being pulled around by them. What you'll find over time is that there's a deep inner stillness beneath the noise, a kind of quiet that isn't empty, but full of awareness, full of to life. And in that awareness, the profound practice of surrender becomes natural, because you're no longer lost in what should be. You're present with what is. Meditation isn't the only way to experience this, but it's one of the most direct. It trains the mind to release, tight control. It teaches the nervous system to soften. It gives the heart room to feel again without judgment. And from that space, new insights arise, not from the force, but from deep inner stillness, not from struggle, but from connection. The world is loud. Our minds are louder, but within you always. There's a quiet space that's untouched by all of it, a space of peace, of knowing, of gentle, calm and grounded presence. And when you touch that space regularly, even for a few moments, your whole relationship to life changes. You stop reacting, you start responding, you stop needing to fix everything. You start genuine trusting that some things simply are. This is the true foundation of the profound practice of surrender. Not a mindset, but a practice, a daily, grounded return to self. Not the self full of expectations and demands, but the self that simply is the self that watches, breathes, allows. So ask yourself, can you give yourself 5 minutes today, just 5 to be still, not to achieve anything, not to figure anything out, but simply to be with what's here? Because the more often you return to that space, the more natural the profound practice of surrender becomes, not as an idea, but as a way of living. And when the profound practice of surrender becomes a habit, life no longer feels like something you have to manage. It becomes something you're in conversation with, something you genuinely trust, something you flow with one breath at a time. We tend to associate tight control with strength. The more in tight control we are, the more powerful we feel. We micromanage. Our schedules obsess over outcomes and cling to routines as if they're lifelines. But the truth is, most of our desire for tight control doesn't come from power. It comes from fear. Fear of uncertainty, fear of loss, fear of the unknown. And the more we try to dominate life, the more we disconnect from its natural rhythm. The irony is that the tighter we hold on, the more things seem to slip away. Tight control creates the illusion of safety, but it rarely gives us peace. It gives us tension, anxiety, and the constant burden of needing everything to go according to plan. And when it doesn't, we collapse, we doubt ourselves, we feel like we failed. But have we really failed? Or did we just believe that we were ever in tight control to begin with? The profound practice of surrender challenges this belief. It invites us to reconsider what real power looks like. Not the kind that forces, but the kind that flows. Not the kind that dominates, but the kind that adapts. True power isn't loud, it's rooted. It doesn't need to prove itself. It genuinely trusts in its ability to respond rather than react. This shift is radical. It requires unlearning because most of us were taught that the control is necessary for survival, that if we don't plan, prepare, and predict, everything will fall apart. But life isn't a machine, it's a living process, and processes don't respond well to force. They respond to calm and grounded presence, to awareness, to alignment, to the profound practice of surrender. The need for tight control is not to give up responsibility, it's to shift from trying to force outcomes to choosing how we respond to them. It's moving from the mindset of, I must make this happen too. I will meet whatever happens with clarity and intention. This change alters everything: your stress levels, your sense of self-worth, your ability to handle setbacks. You stop internalizing every challenge as a reflection of your failure. You start seeing each moment as a chance to listen, to adjust, to grow. Tight control is rigid. The profound practice of surrender is responsive, and responsiveness is what life asks of us. That doesn't mean you stop making plans or setting goals, but it does mean you stop attaching your identity to them. You recognize that you are not your results. You are not your productivity. You are not your ability to tight control every detail. You are the awareness behind it, all the one who can choose again, adjust. Keep going without the weight of perfectionism. So take a moment to notice where tight control is ruling your life. Where are you gripping so tightly that you've lost your sense of ease? Where have your routines become cages rather than containers? Can you soften just a little? Can you genuinely trust that not everything needs to be managed down to the last detail? Because in that softening, you don't lose power. You gain freedom. You gain the ability to adapt, to pivot, to move with life, rather than constantly fighting against it. You become more resilient, not because you tight control everything, but because you don't have to. That's real strength. The kind that bends without breaking, the kind that listens before it speaks. The kind that knows, I am not here to conquer life. I am here to collaborate with it. And in that collaboration, tight control fades. But something deeper takes its place. Wisdom, genuine trust. The quiet confidence that you can meet whatever comes. There's a paradox we don't often talk about. The moment you stop needing something is often the moment it begins to show up. Not because life is playing games with you, because conscious letting go changes your energy. It shifts your focus from lack to calm and grounded presence, from grasping to receiving. And in that shift, you create the space for life to respond. It's strange how it works. You try, you push, you chase, and nothing moves. Then, in a moment of quiet, the profound practice of surrender, you release your attachment to in the outcome, and suddenly things begin to unfold. Opportunities arrive, clarity comes, people show up. It doesn't always happen instantly, but the pattern is real. The profound practice of surrender invites alignment not because you gave up, but because you gave in to flow, to timing, to genuine trust. But to really understand this, we have to question something deeper. Why do we want what we want so badly? Is it because we believe it will make us whole or safe or finally enough? So much of our striving comes not from inspiration, but from the belief that we are incomplete without the thing we're chasing. And that belief creates pressure. It says, "Until this happens, I cannot be at peace." The profound practice of surrender breaks that cycle. It says, I can want something and still be whole. I can pursue something and still be at peace. It separates desire from desperation. And that separation is where true freedom begins. This doesn't mean we abandon our goals. It means we stop letting them own us. We show up fully, do the work, take the steps, but without gripping the outcome. We stop measuring our self-worth by whether or not things go our way. We begin to realize that how we live matters more than what we achieve. This paradox that conscious letting go brings more is not a trick. It's a principle rooted in how life moves. Force creates resistance. Openness creates flow. When you loosen your grip, you return to the present moment. And from that place, you make better decisions. You see more clearly, you act with more precision and less noise. Think about how differently you show up when you're calm-centered, not needing something to happen in order to feel okay. Your energy is different. Your calm and grounded presence is magnetic. You're not pushing people or possibilities away with tension. You're inviting them with authenticity. And even when things don't go the way you hoped, you don't collapse. You don't spiral because you're no longer attached to a specific outcome. You're committed to truth, to growth, to showing with integrity, regardless of how the external world responds. This is the power of the profound practice of surrender. It gives you your life back, not as a reward for conscious letting go, but as a natural result of being fully here, of no longer postponing peace until conditions are perfect. So ask yourself, what are you gripping that's causing more tension than movement? What are you afraid will slip away if you stop chasing it so hard? And what would it feel like to want something deeply without needing it to define you? That shift is everything. It doesn't take away your passion. It doesn't dull your ambition, it simply grounds it. It reminds you that you're already enough, that life is not something to conquer, but to align with, and when you live from that space, free, focused, present, what you truly need often finds its way to you, not because you demanded it, but because you are finally ready to receive it. Relationships can be one of the most powerful mirrors for our desire to tight control in our closest connections. We often try consciously or not to shape others into what we need them to be. We expect them to respond the way we would to love us, how we define love to meet our needs, without having to ask. And when they don't, frustration arises. We start managing, correcting, sometimes even manipulating, not always with ill intent, but with fear at the core. Fear of rejection, fear of being misunderstood, fear of losing connection. But here's what the profound practice of surrender teaches us. Love is not tight control. It's not shaping someone else to fit your comfort zone. It's allowing them to be fully themselves, even when that challenges you, even when it confronts your own insecurities. The profound practice of surrender in relationships doesn't mean silence or avoidance. It means releasing the illusion that closeness requires tight control. True connection thrives on freedom, not pressure. The more you try to tight control how someone shows up, the more tension you create. The more you try to force emotional safety through tight control, the more unsafe the relationship actually becomes. People need space to be real, change to grow, and that space can only exist when we're willing to the profound practice of surrender. Our assumptions about who they should be, The profound practice of surrendering in relationships doesn't mean allowing dysfunction. It doesn't mean tolerating harm or settling for less than what's healthy. It means knowing the difference between expressing your needs and trying to tight control the outcome, between holding someone accountable and trying to rewrite their personality, between loving someone for who they are and resenting them for not becoming who you wanted them to be. There's a strange beauty in conscious letting go of the script we've written for others, in choosing to meet people as they are today, not who we wish they'd become tomorrow. That doesn't mean we stop caring. It means we start listening more. We soften, we become less reactive, and in that softening, deeper understanding emerges. Communication becomes easier. Conflicts become less about blame and more about clarity. We stop trying to win, and we start trying to connect. And that connection, born of the profound practice of surrender, often becomes more fulfilling than anything we could have forced, because now it's real, not based on conditions or performance, but rooted in calm and grounded presence. You show up, they show up, not perfectly, but honestly. So pause for a moment and reflect, where in your relationships are you holding too tightly? Where are you trying to tight control the narrative out of fear? And what might shift if you let go, not of the person, but of the pressure? The answer might be uncomfortable at first, but with discomfort comes freedom. The freedom to feel what's true. The freedom to relate without armor. The freedom to love without clinging. And when two people meet from that space, something sacred happens. Not because they tight control each other, but because they choose to honor each other as they are moment by moment. That's the quiet strength of the profound practice of surrendered love. It doesn't seek to possess, it seeks to understand, and in that understanding it finds a deeper kind of connection, one built not on power but on calm and grounded presence. The present moment is often overlooked. We're so busy reaching for what's next, regretting what's past, managing what could go wrong, that we forget where life is actually happening here now. And yet this is the only space where anything real can be experienced, the only place where joy, clarity, love, and transformation are possible. But to live in the present requires something many of us resist: the profound practice of surrendering the need to mentally escape it. We escape in subtle ways: constant planning, endless distractions, replaying conversations, anticipating outcomes. Our minds rush ahead, convinced that the next moment holds more value than this one. But the next moment is just another now, and if we don't know how to be present in this one, we'll miss all the others too. The profound practice of surrendering to the now doesn't mean we stop dreaming or preparing. It means we'll stop resisting. What is it? Means we meet life as it unfolds. Instead of fighting it with expectations and judgment, it means we allow the moment to be enough. Not perfect, not easy, but enough. There's a quiet power in that shift. When we drop into the present, something inside us softens the noise. Lessens we breathe, more fully we feel. More clearly we realize that most of our suffering wasn't caused by the moment itself, but by our refusal to fully enter it. The now is where your strength is. It's where your clarity lives. When you're fully here, you respond. More wisely, you connect. More honestly, you create. More authentically. You're not being pulled in 100 directions by what-ifs and should-haves. You're grounded. And in that groundedness, life begins to feel less chaotic. Because you're no longer scattered across imaginary timelines, you've returned to your center. This doesn't mean the present moment is always peaceful. Sometimes it's painful, sometimes it's uncertain. But even then, there's something steady beneath it. A deep inner stillness, a calm and grounded presence. And the more you learn to return to that space, no matter what's happening, the more resilient you become. We often wait for external things to change so we can feel peace. But peace doesn't come from having the perfect life. It comes from being fully alive in the one you have. And that starts by the profound practice of surrendering the mental habit of postponing calm and grounded presence by no longer saying, "I'll feel okay when," and instead saying, "I choose to show up now," because now is where everything happens. Every insight, every shift, every moment of connection or courage or creativity, it all begins in the now, and when the profound practice of surrender to it, not because it's perfect, but because it's real, you begin to move through life with more grace, more clarity, and more power than you ever thought possible. So ask yourself gently, where are you not? Physically, but mentally, emotionally, energetically. Are you here, or are you lost in a future you can't tight control? Or a past you can't change if you're not here? Come back to the breath, to the feeling in your chest, to the ground beneath your feet. Come back to what's real, because this moment, just as it is not something to rush through, it's something to live. And when you live it fully, you discover that the profound practice of surrender isn't just about conscious letting go of tight control. It's about coming home to yourself, to this breath, to now. So much of what we're chasing is already within reach: peace, clarity, connection, purpose, but we often miss it, not because it's hidden, but because we're moving too fast, gripping too tightly, trying too hard to force life into a shape it was never meant to take. And somewhere, in all that effort, we forget that the profound practice of surrender isn't about giving up, it's about tuning in, it's about choosing to meet life where it is not where we wish it was. It's about genuine trusting that we don't have to carry everything alone, that tight control is not the key to freedom, calm, and grounded presence, is that forcing outcomes may bring temporary results, but only the profound practice of surrender brings lasting alignment, the kind of alignment that doesn't just change what we experience, it changes who we are while experiencing it. Maybe the real question isn't, what do I need to make happen? But what am I being asked to let go of? What beliefs no longer serve you? What expectations are stealing your peace? What tight control are you holding on to so tightly that it's keeping joy at a distance? And what would happen if, for once, you softened your grip, slowed your pace, and simply allowed life to meet you where you are? This isn't a philosophy to admire from a distance. It's a practice, a path, a way of showing up in the world that's honest, grounded, and deeply courageous, because it takes courage to stop pushing, it takes strength to be still, and it takes genuine trust to believe that what's meant for you will never need to be forced. So as you step back into your day, carry this truth with you. The profound practice of surrender is not the end of effort, it's the beginning of true power, a power that moves with life, not against it, a power that doesn't demand but invites, doesn't tight control but collaborates, doesn't panic but genuine trusts. Start there. Start now, one breath at a time, one moment at a time. The profound practice of surrender, not because you're weak, but because you're finally ready to live from your deepest strength. And if this journey spoke to something in you, share it, reflect on it, revisit it when you forget, because the profound practice of surrender isn't something we master once, it's something we remember again and again every time life whispers, "Let go." Thank you for staying until the end. It shows that you are more than just watching, you are ready to change. If today's message resonates with you, let it be the first step, because the journey of personal growth doesn't end here. Keep listening for the next videos. Each video is a building block for your inner strength, success, and peace. Don't stop. Don't back down. Thank you for choosing to invest in your mind. Keep going deeper, higher, and stronger. Subscribe, turn on the bell, and see you in the next video. You deserve the best version of yourself.